Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bad Flashes. In today's episode, sometimes your shit just gets fucked and, well, you have to be okay with that. Today, we're gonna be taking a trip for trip's sake, and along the way, taking some pretty bad photos. They're terrible. I mean, okay, to be fair, they're not all terrible, just the vast majority of them. We're also gonna be reviewing the Yashica GS Electro 35. So stay tuned, because the house that we are staying in, well, let's just say, there's gnome place like home. You see what I did there? Do you see what I did, the gnome and the home, and they kind of like, they rhyme, and that's the joke there. The gnome place like, let's just hit the intro. Have you ever been in love before? Like, so in love? Like every snap you take is new, fresh, exciting? You never knew that these feelings could exist. And you knew, in your wildest dreams, you could never feel this way about another camera. Until, well, you do. That's my journey with the Electro 35. Let's start at the beginning. I had just gotten myself a new TLR, the Yashica A. So I thought, let me just stay in the family and buy a Yashica Electro 35. 120, 35. Perfect little family there. Me and that GS went everywhere. To the beach, long walks around the block. We shared our dreams, aspirations, a life together. But then we fell apart for no good reason, really. Well, other than I found myself a side piece, so maybe I'm the asshole in the relationship. But before Lauren and I went on our little getaway, we bumped into each other, the Electro and I. You know, sometimes you just see your old boo on the street, decide to grab a coffee. You talk about the good times, exploring past feelings, and eventually breaking them. Yeah, I broke the camera. I know it's April 1st, but it's not a joke. I should probably just stop taking trips in March. March is not good for me. What? So before Lauren and I went on our trip, I dusted off the Yashica and we hit the road. We decided to drive down south to a little mountain town called Julian. And yeah, I know, before you say it, they're known for their apples. I get that. But I could tell that the Electro 35 was just happy to be out again, hitting the road. Wind in its hair, or gauges or something, I don't know. The analogy's getting weird now. And as a disclaimer, these shots aren't going to be bangers. There's light leaks everywhere, so yeah, you just can't win them all. Sometimes you got to be okay with that. But after a 3-hour drive, we found ourselves in the little town of Julian and decided to go drink some wine. And after getting a little drink, we ended up getting some barbecue, which literally is the best barbecue I've ever had, and I've had barbecue. Plus, they had boy with apple hanging in the restaurant there. The ribs were to die for. Dry ribbed and delicious. So good in my mouth. Now the first G model was introduced sometime in the 60s, but my GS model was actually introduced in the 70s. The Electro 35 is a fixed lens rangefinder. The lens is a relief shutter and the aperture is 1.7. And the max shutter speed is 1/500. It is also an aperture priority camera, so you choose the aperture, shutter speed does the rest. It also has a built-in center weighted light meter. 2 arrows blinking on either side telling you if you're under or over exposed. And the ISO dial goes from 25 to 1000, so you have plenty of speeds to choose from. The Electro 35 also runs on batteries. It's kind of a weird one as well. For the most part, I've really liked this lens. It's a 45mm, and when it gets it right, Sometimes it gets it wrong, and then because it's an aperture priority, you just can't really do anything about that. One of the major drawbacks of these cameras is they suffer from light leaks. So if you end up buying one on the secondhand market, you'll most likely have to fix the light seals. After we were done stuffing our faces with pure amazing barbecue, we ended up going to the Gnome Home to check in. The place was literally insane. Like, you thought Madonna Inn, link here, was weird. This is even weirder. It looked like a hobbit's hole. I mean, the whole reason we went to Julian was for this home. There's gnomes everywhere and was possessed by gnomes. I guarantee it, 100%. When we were sleeping, gnomes were just staring at us. And it was cold. I mean, there was snow on the ground outside. It was kind of cool, though. I mean, I gotta say, for being as weird as it was cool. I mean, okay, sure. The bedroom and the toilet and the shower all being in the same room with no privacy? Well, let's just say it tested our relationship. There are smells that I can't unsmell. You think these mushrooms are edible?
Creepy face in the morning staring at you.
So you guys know me and my coffee. Do I do it? Here goes nothing. No.
The next day, we woke up and decided to get wasted at a winery. Okay, fine, I didn't get wasted. So some of the pros of the camera are it's easy to use. The rangefinder patch is actually pretty reliable, and it's easy to fix yourself. The lens being a 1.7 is definitely a pro, and the fact that it has a light meter is very useful. It isn't a TTL, so you'll have to remember that. Which also kind of brings me to the cons. The meter is almost a little too simple. It just has two arrows showing if you're over or underexposed. A red arrow is underexposed, and a yellow arrow is overexposed. But if you're properly exposed, nothing happens, leading you to wonder if you're exposed properly or not, and if it even is working. Another con is the weird battery it takes, and really the fact that it's fully electronic. And one of the biggest problems I have with the camera overall is the shutter, the long shutter button travel. Really? It's a big issue for me. It's probably the biggest thing about this camera that I never really enjoy. The fact that it just takes so long to just click. Sometimes you don't even know if you're taking the photo or not, and that's just unacceptable. Honestly, I can't stress that enough. You have to be very forceful with pushing that shutter button. The shutter feeling is really the only indication that you're taking a photo, and because it's a leaf shutter, it's so quiet, can't even hear if it's actually taking. Now, my buddy Will said he has a soft shutter release for his camera, and it helps the feel a lot, but I've never tried that, so I don't know. I mean, I've touched a Leica. I'll never be the same. And to be honest, a general note, if you don't want the red dot taste in your mouth, waking you up, profusely sweating every single night, dreaming about better days, stay ignorant. Don't touch, don't feel, don't look at, don't dream about a Leica. It will ruin your life forever. You will never be able to think of anything else. I'm telling you, stay ignorant.
This is a lot tighter than I'm expecting.
After the winery, we decided to hit the town. Most things closed at 5 o'clock, so we couldn't really do everything we wanted. It's a very sleepy town. 5 o'clock and everything just shuts off. But we decided to go shopping in the little shopping center. It's basically just one row of things, and that's all you got. You don't get anything else. It's just one street, Julian. After we went shopping, we decided to get a beer at Julian Beer Co. because that's where the barbecue was, and the beer was good too. So we went to have beer, and that's where I broke my camera. I just broke the camera. That's what happens when you go to take a photo and catch your foot on the strap. Just don't do it. It's not good. So, well, guess it's decoration now. Why do I break cameras? Well, it's broken, so F16 at infinity focus, and no, does that work? That works. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. But after we were done painting the town silver with all the guts from my camera, we ended up going back to the Gnome Home and freezing our asses off for the next 6 hours until bedtime. Sounds fun, doesn't it? It was fine. We weren't frozen. It was good. And then we passed out and we woke up and we left. That's it. That's the end. It's just small. It was a really good getaway. I do have to say about that. It was fun, relaxing, enjoyable. And the barbecue was great. I know I keep talking about the barbecue, but the barbecue was maybe worth the broken camera. I know I'm talking about the shutter release on this camera a lot, but it's literally the function of the camera. It is the only thing that needs to work. Well, I guess the rest of it needs to work too. But you pick up a camera because of the way it feels when you operate it. So if you don't like hitting the shutter button, you won't want to take photos with it. It's honestly the make or break of any camera. To be honest, this camera has been plagued with light leaks since the beginning. Back then, I didn't actually really know anything. And because it didn't happen all that often, I didn't really bother looking into it and getting it fixed. Sometimes it actually made the images kind of cool. At that time, photography hadn't taken my wallet for hostage or demanded a sacrificial offering of my firstborn child. Sometimes imperfections are great. Sometimes I like imperfections. Sometimes I don't. I think the good thing about this was just a fun trip to have a very easy use camera and, just take a bunch of photos of things that I saw and my girlfriend. Sometimes you don't need them to be bangers. Sometimes you just need them to exist. The one thing I've always really loved about the camera is the way that it looks. The chrome finish is beautiful, and it really feels good in the hand. It is stupid simple to use, and if that's what you want, it might be a good camera for you, but I have to warn you, the shutter travel kills me. At the end of the day, if you want a fully manual camera and a rangefinder, it's not the camera for you. If you want something budget friendly, the Canon Canonettes are pretty popular. Now, I've never used one, but I know quite a number of people who just absolutely love them. In the beginning, I had a lot of fun with this camera. I took it everywhere and it was my daily driver. But as I grew in photography, the way a camera feels became very important. I mean, I've touched several Leicas at this point and I'm ruined. My lust is strong. So I hope you found this episode enlightening. Well, join me next time where I will show you how useful duct tape is. I don't know, it's hot in here. I'm hot in the closet. I'm ready to get out of here. So, bye!